Buying your medication is easy with City Drugstore's curbside pickup. WhatsApp our certified pharmacist at 662-8769 with your requests. For prescriptions, take a clear photograph and send for review. We will engage you in dialogue and then provide a quotation and link for payment. You can then pay via TDC's online payment portal. And once the transaction is complete, you'll be notified that your pickup is ready. Yes, it's that easy. Send your WhatsApp message to 662-8769 to order your medications today with City Drugstore's curbside pickup service.
avoid getting the coronavirus, remember to wash your hands thoroughly and frequently before and after preparing food, after using the toilet or changing a diaper for a baby, sick person, or the elderly, after blowing your nose, and after leaving large gatherings or moving away from persons who appear ill. Encourage others to wash their hands and also use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer of 60 to 70% solution. Stay away from events having large gatherings of people. You can expose yourself to more possible infections in large groups.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Good morning, Sinkers and Nevis, and welcome to Voices on WINNFM 98.9. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. Thank you so much for joining me on today's edition of Voices on WINNFM 98.9. Today is Wednesday, January 19th, 2021, and thank you so much for joining me. It's a beautiful Wednesday. I'm giving thanks for life, and I'm really happy to be here with you for yet another exciting edition of Voices only on WINNFM 98.9. Of course, as per usual, I'll be giving out the numbers where you can call in to participate in today's program. Remember, we are live on Facebook at WINNMedia SKN. You can also call us, you can also check us out on YouTube, at WINNMedia SKN, and our website at www.winmediaskn.com. The numbers are 466-0989 and 762-0989. The overseas numbers for the UK. So if you are residing in the UK, you can call us at 033-344-0065. If you are in the USA, you can call us at 718-285-6984. And if you are in Canada, you can call us at 305-921-4619. This is Voices on WINNFM 98.9. So, of course, big in the news regionally is the Barbados elections. And so Barbadians all across the country have been given the opportunity to elect a new government today, and we will be following this very closely for the rest of the day. Of course, we will provide an update in our newscast for tomorrow. But Barbadians are at the polls right now as we speak, and they are voting for a new government. We have approximately 266,330 people registered to vote in the Barbados election, in the elections for today. And the big question on the table, or the million-dollar question, is will there be an upset in today's election? For some reason, many people predict that the Barbados Labour Party will lose some grounds. So it is not necessarily a case of them losing the election, but they will lose some grounds. This is what people have been saying. This is what people are saying, and this is what political pundits have predicted, that the Barbados Labour Party will lose some grounds in today's election. As you kind of find it really hard to believe, or hard to understand, that a party that won all seats, the 30 seats in just 3 years ago, an election in 2018, would come this time around, 3 years later, and lose the government. That is I don't think we've ever seen anything like that in Caribbean politics. I'm not saying that it is impossible. I'm just saying that it is highly unlikely. But again, we don't know what is on the minds of the Barbadian electorate, and so today is for them to make that decision. This is also the first election since the country became a republic in November. So very historic occasion, very, very historic occasion, and we're going to be following very closely to see if it is going to be mayor, or if it's going to be someone else, we have Verla de Pisa of the Democratic Labour Party. And just to provide you with a little bit more information on this election. So, this, as I said before, it's the first election being held since the island became a republic in November of last year, and the election is seen as a straight fight between the incumbent Barbados Labour Party, led by Prime Minister Mia Mottley, and the Verla de Pisa led Democratic Labour Party. Now, both parties are fielding 30 candidates and will also come up against the Alliance Party for Progress, led by former opposition leader Bishop Joseph Atherley, that is contesting 20 seats. So the other parties are contesting 30, while that's the APP contesting 20 seats. Overall, there are 108 candidates, which include 9 independents. The vote is also proceeding against the backdrop of the COVID-19 pandemic, which has led to voters among more than 5,600 people in isolation, unable to cast their ballots in the SNAP poll. So people in isolation, of course, they cannot. Of course, if you're in isolation, you can't leave the isolation center. You can't leave the quarantine center. So you would not be able to participate in the election. However, I read somewhere from Barbados today that if you show up to vote and you are displaying COVID-19 symptoms, they would facilitate you so that you can exercise that right to vote. How would that be done? I mean, is it that they're going to ask people if they have these things? I mean, I guess, with the symptoms, that would be very visible. Now, the issue was at the center of a court challenge brought by Philip Catlin, of the Barbados Sovereignty Party on the grounds that the rights of Barbadians under Section 6 of the Representation of the People Act were being trampled upon. So in other words, they brought an injunction, or filed an injunction to stop the election. They were hoping to get the elections that are happening right now to not happen because with issues on the ground with COVID-19 and people being disenfranchised and all of that. The High Court has dismissed an application for an injunction to postpone the general elections, clearing the way for Barbadians, of course, to go to the polls. Madam Justice Cicely Chase, after nearly 8 hours of submissions and deliberations, declared the court had no jurisdiction to adjudicate on the matter. Philip Catlin, who filed the application, described the result as a, quote, slap in the face, end quote, for thousands of citizens, while his attorney, Lalu Hanuman, said the judgment was dubious. The applicant contended that the rights of Barbadians under Section 6 of the Representation of the People Act were being trampled. He also accused President Dame Sandra Mason for acting unreasonably when she accepted Prime Minister Mia Mottley's request for an election in circumstances where thousands of people could be disenfranchised. So, in other words, he's saying that because of the circumstances where people in Barbados can be disenfranchised, the elections should have been postponed or perhaps should not have been called. Hanuman, a human rights lawyer, was referring to the exclusion of the eligible voters who are among the over 6,000 COVID-19 infected people who, by law, are required to isolate. However, Justice Chase declared that the claims against Dame Sandra raised a controversy pursuant to the Election Offences and Controversies Act, Chapter 3. Now, according to the Act, such issues can only be heard by a special election court comprising 3 judges. Quote, this court is a high court and it is not an election court to hear election petitions. While it can hear applications for or of judicial review, this is a controversy which must be properly commended under Chapter 3, end quote, she said. The action has been incorrectly filed in the High Court. That is the opinion of this court. It has been a fully blown controversy as to whether the COVID-19 patients who are in isolation should be able to vote in a normal manner. The judge added that challenges over the incorrect exercise of the president's prerogative powers cannot be addressed or determined by the court. The application for judicial review, therefore, cannot be entertained nor determined. The court has no jurisdiction to hear this matter, and accordingly, no order for injunctive relief in any application can be granted by this court, Justice Chase declared. She also considered the issue of timing of the application and the fact that the challenge could have been made once the election had been called, and particularly before voting for special categories had already been completed. So this is just to provide you with more details as it relates to the Barbados election. Some confusion going on whether the election should have been held. But as it is right now, polls are open. All across Barbados, polls opened at 6 a.m. today. And the polls will close at, I believe, 6 or 7 p.m. Today. So Barbadians have the opportunity to elect a new government. Whether it is going to be the Barbados Labour Party again, that is left to be seen. Whether it is going to be the Democratic Labour Party, that too is left to be seen. And of course, the alliance, the APP, the Alliance Progress for Change, led by Bishop Athley Joseph, that is left to see. We'll take a break to give a shout out to our sponsors, and when we come back, we'll continue Voices here on WINNFM 98.9. The phone lines are open. You too can call and raise whatever topic of concern that you have on your mind at this point in time. The phone lines are open. It is an open year, but I just wanted to put out this update on the Barbados elections. We'll take this very short break to give a shout out to the sponsors. When we come back, we'll continue Voices here on WINNFM 98.9. Stay tuned.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Shopping with TDC just got much easier. Here's how. Log on to shoptdcgroup.com. Shop at your convenience at any time, from anywhere, with your smartphone, tablet, or computer. With our safe and secure payment checkout, you choose the option to pick up in-store or have your goods delivered right to your door. It's that easy. Shop tdcgroup.com, your one-stop online store.
Shop anywhere, shop anytime, same quality you love. Now online. Shop
www.shoptdcgroup.com.
Decided what to eat yet, hon?
Yep, almost.
If only this was easy like when we switched to flour.
best decision ever. Combining our mobile with Flow Internet
Saving hundreds each month on our mobile.
and getting double data to share for up to 4 lines. My ideas are the best.
Any idea when you'll make this decision?
Yeah, soon. Switch to Flow Postpaid and sign up for internet for big mobile savings and double data as low as $80 per line. Visit discoverflow.co for details. Conditions apply.
Welcome back to Voices on WINNFM 98.9. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. Thank you so much for joining me. The phone lines are open and we are taking your calls. The phone lines are open. Call us at 466-0989 or 762-0989. It's, as I said before, I just decided to put information out there with regards to the Barbados election so that you can get an update. But feel free to call and raise whatever topic of concern that you may have at this point in time. And we have our first caller, so let us head to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
A very pleasant morning to you, Brother Cornelius, and all your listeners everywhere. I want to zero in a bit on the situation with the elections in Barbados with respect to the persons who may have or might have contracted, either you want to call it, well, I am using my term, my expressions, wicked COVID or Omicron. My view on that, personally, is that each and every citizen of every country throughout the world, according to the United Nations Charter on Human Rights, has a right to vote in any democratic election process. So every Barbadian has a right to vote, and whether you have leprosy, you have wicked COVID, you have Omicron, you have Delta, whatever fancy names they choose to give it, or give those diseases or viruses, those individuals have a right to vote. The authorities in Barbados, the election officials in Barbados, it is incumbent on them, it is imperative that they make every possible provision for all Barbadians who have been registered to vote to vote. So if you have people being quarantined somewhere, the voting process can take place at the quarantine center. So all Barbadians who are 18 years and above and have been registered to vote, they have that constitutional and fundamental right to vote, and they should not be denied or deprived of that at all. So that is my position on that. And I stand by that very firmly. I believe that it should be like that everywhere in the world where we democratic process or the democratic process abounds or thrives. With respect to what the Australian government has done to the great Novak Djokovic, it is very unfortunate for lawn tennis, it is very unfortunate for sports that such a great player has been humiliated in such a manner by the government of Australia. And I'm telling you the honest truth, had I been Novak Djokovic, I would have wiped the dust of Australia off my feet and washed my feet when I get off the aircraft, and never again will I ever set foot on Australia. It is very unfortunate that sportsmen who have entertained the world and have done so much to encourage and stimulate interest in lawn tennis, which is a great game, to be treated in such a manner. Before Omicron, before Delta, before wicked COVID, before pandemic, before all those things, didn't Novak Djokovic take part in the ATP tournaments, the majors around the world? He took part in the Australian Open. He won it. He took part in the French Open. He won it. He has won Wimbledon. He has won the American Open. So what's the issue now? What is the issue now? That history will never forgive Australia for treating Novak Djokovic in such a manner. That is wrong, 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 and further wrong, more wrong. You see how Carlton DuPont will shout out on morning on his program, wrong, 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 wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong. They have no right to treat a man like that. Absolutely no right. And I am very upset about it as a sports commentator, a sports enthusiast, and a sportsman myself. It's not fair. He should have never been treated like that. And the thing is, the Australians do not have anyone who can win the Australian Open. They have no Australian who can win the Australian Open now. But look at how they have treated the guy. It is a slap in the face, and it's embarrassing to his country and the people of his country, Serbia, I believe, from whence he comes. That is not right. That is injustice of the highest order, injustice of the highest level. And the United Nations should look into that. They should look into that. That is wickedness. That is a high level of wickedness. The man should not be treated so. Not at all. Not at all. I have serious qualms with that. Serious qualms.
No.
I don't think that sports people who have contributed so much to international sports should be treated in such a manner.
Right. Well,
That should not happen.
Yeah. And thank you so much, caller, for weighing on today's voices. Thank you so much for your contribution. We'll be taking some more calls, so we'll end this one with you, and we will be heading back to the phone lines. Thank you so much. The phone lines are still open, and we're still taking calls. The caller was weighing on the Barbados elections, among other things that are happening in the world today, affecting, of course, us here at home and abroad. The phone lines are open. Call us at 466-0989, 762-0989. Again, for those of you who are in the diaspora, the numbers for the UK is 033-344-0065. If you are in the USA, you can call us at 718-285-6984. If you are in Canada, you can call us at 305-921-4619. This is Voices on WINNFM 98.9. Yes, sorry about that. So, the issue of the Barbados elections, it's going to be very interesting, very, very interesting, as some people predict that Mia will be losing grounds, and some have said that that is not the case. Mia will continue to hold on to the majority, or the 28 or 29 or the 30 seats that she had in the 2018 Barbados polls there. But as I said before, this is all left to see, and we'll be monitoring these elections very, very, very closely. We'll take a break to give a shout out to the sponsors. When we come back, we'll continue Voices here on WINNFM 98.9. Stay tuned, and we will be right back.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
Decided what to eat yet, hun?
Yep, almost.
If only this was easy like when we switched to Flow.
Best decision ever. Combining our mobile with Flow Internet
Saving hundreds each month on our mobile.
and getting double data to share for up to 4 lines. My ideas are the best.
Any idea when you'll make this decision?
Yeah, soon. Switch to Flow Postpaid and sign up for internet for big mobile savings and double data as low as $80 per line. Visit discoverflow.co for details. Conditions apply.
Enjoy the convenience of getting all your documents in one place. At the TDC Copy and Print Center on 4th Street in Basse-Terre, we do just that. We offer document formatting, graphic design, and copy and print services. Our team of professionals truly understand all your needs, whether it be administrative, professional, academic, or personal. You bring it, we deliver it with quality every time. Visit the TDC Copy and Print Center today in the TDC Mall on 4th Street in Basse-Terre or call 465-2511. Your copy and print specialists are waiting to serve you.
Welcome back to Voices on WINFM 98.9. The phone lines are open and we're heading back to the phone lines. We have a caller on the line. Let's take this call. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Devon. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing fine, thanks. What about you?
Man, here giving God thanks,
Good to hear.
When you hear the news, It's good to have a God like mine. Good morning, Journey in Africa. I want to get a God like mine. And what has become of Mr. Bacchus?
Mr. Bacchus has retired.
I did not know that.
Yes, he has retired.
Oh, because I miss his voice. Anyway, wherever you are, Mr. Bacchus, Happy New Year. I sure do miss you. And I want to express my gratitude for the work that you have done. In making WINNFM into what it is. World class, as I say, world class radio. And the Voices program.
Mm-hmm.
One that is worthy to participate in. Now, there's a scripture in Galatians that says, all things are lawful unto me, but all things are not convenient. I say that in relation to the Barbados issue. Of course, the people have their rights. Barbados is strangling under the burden of COVID. And here we are, asking that the people, because we can't say electronic, there's no electronic voting in Barbados. We are asking people to go and put themselves at risk. Because you're in isolation, you're positive,
Mm-hmm.
You may be in quarantine, you may not be. But for sure. And sometimes these arguments will bring up just political. What would you rather have? From as far as I understand, if they think they have news now, the way that they are campaigning, we're going to see the results maybe from tomorrow upon platform and in the crowd. When party supposed to work up,
Mm-hmm.
they come up the mass and shouting and carrying on. When they hear, they hear the news. How much 100 and something today, and sometimes I wonder why our people get so overtaken with campaigning. It's poor people that go answer.
But Sewan said too, I mean, yes, we understand, okay, this is elections in Barbados, the numbers are high, and you have to be mindful of the COVID-19, but it was the government.
Nobody being mindful.
It was the government who called the election, so they didn't know that they have all these cases?
Keep on the mask. Well, nobody. Anyway, it's the same thing with the carnival. Now, let me get to the one with the tennis player. You know, sometimes we get emotional, you know. The gentleman was wrong. He went in by fraud. What makes him different to the ordinary citizen of Australia? As you may know, I don't know if you know, there are many Australians outside of Australia who cannot go home because of the COVID requirement. So what makes him different or better than a born Australian? They can go home if they are positive. They can only go home if they have for being negative. So why should Mr. Jacobis be exempted? This is why, you see, there could be no justice, you know. We are often too partial. Oh, he is the world champion. Darling, he should have high enough millions by now put aside. Because what are you going to tell? What are you going to tell the Australians? Because that is the issue, you know. The issue is he was allowed or given a visa by whatever means, and there are, I wouldn't say millions, but there are many Australians outside of the country who want to go home and cannot go home. So how can you justify that? How do we justify that, Devon?
I can't even give an answer for that.
But think about it. Because that is the Australian, that is why the people in Australia are kicking up, you know.
Right.
They're not concerned about who win and who don't win. All they're saying, if we are born citizens, whether born or acquired, and we can't go home, why should he? And then you see, he was making it known before he went. He was against the vaccine and he wasn't going to vaccinate. I mean, really? A lot of us want our cake and we want to eat it. We declare we're not going to take any. All right, that is your right. But other people have rights too, you know, and countries have rights. So when you make a decision, there's a consequence. In the big USA, they have vaccinate, you know, ORR. If you're a federal worker, you have to. People have to leave police force, even in the very military. The issue with the private sector, they say private sector must design their own thing. I could understand that. But once you're collecting money from the federal government, you either take the vaccine test or you find another job. So I hear our people, they have all kind of things to say. Well, the other people who take it had a choice too, you know. You think everybody who took it wanted to take it? But there's something called in the Bible, counting the cost. He said before anybody go to war, it's in the book of Matthew. I don't remember the chapter, but read the Bible, it's in there. He said before you go to war, count the cost, lest in the middle of the fight, you have to be begging the man. If you know that you need your job to feed your family, and if you know you have no alternatives, then you are some of them acting selfishly, and then looking people to sorry for them.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You have young children. You have young children, you know, who have to be fed. You don't have anything put aside to feed them.
Mm-hmm.
You hear the boss say, either vaccinate or you lose your job. You think everybody up in all of those companies well wanted to take the thing? But they know, they acknowledge their responsibility. All right, then.
Right. Thank you so much, caller, for your contribution. There was a caller trying to get in. You can call us back at 4660989, 7620989. We're still taking your calls here on Voices on WINNFM 98.9. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. If we have no calls, I'll take a break right now. It's 45 minutes past the hour, 15 minutes until we take a break for the headline news. So let me take the short break to give a shout out to the sponsors. And when we come back, we'll continue Voices here on WINNFM 98.9. Let's take this break and we'll be right back.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9 Win FM.
Decided what to eat yet, hon?
Yep, almost.
If only this was easy like when we switched to Flow.
Best decision ever. Combining our mobile with Flow Internet
Saving hundreds each month on our mobile.
and getting double data to share for up to 4 lines. My ideas are the best.
Any idea when you'll make this decision?
Yeah, soon. Switch to Flow Postpaid and sign up for internet for big mobile savings and double data as low as $80 per line. Visit discoverflow.co for details. Conditions apply.
Buying your medication is easy with City Drug Store's curbside pickup. WhatsApp our certified pharmacist at 662-8769 with your requests. For prescriptions, take a clear photograph and send for review. We will engage you in dialogue and then provide a quotation and link for payment. You can then pay via TDC's online payment portal. And once the transaction is complete, you'll be notified that your pickup is ready. Yes, it's that easy. Send your WhatsApp message to 662-8769 to order your medications today with City Drug Store's curbside pickup service.
Welcome back to Voices on WINNFM 98.9. The phone lines are open and we are taking your calls right up until 12 noon, where we break for the headline news. For those of you who are just tuning in, the conversation of the Barbados elections ongoing right now. Who will it be? Will Mia return as the Prime Minister? So the caller before was raising the concern of people going out to vote and, the COVID-19 situation. But to be frank, I mean, it was the government who made the call to call the election. The people didn't jump up and say they wanted an election in Barbados, And I would say that this election came at a surprise to many people. There were people within the Barbados Labour Party that claimed that they too were shocked, as they had no idea that their Prime Minister would be ringing the bell. And so it wasn't a case of where the people knew that the country is struggling with COVID-19 and they have a high number of cases. It wasn't a case where they said, let's call the election. The Prime Minister went to the President and sought approval or advice, whatever the case is, to have the election. So I'm not necessarily agreeing to spin it around, no, to cast blame. Not really necessarily to cast blame, but I'm not necessarily going to spin it around to tell people to, elections is happening, so don't go vote if you have, don't go vote and all of that. It was the Barbados government or the Barbados Labour Party who made that decision to have the elections. At the same time, if you do have COVID and you're in isolation, I mean, nobody really expects you to leave isolation to go and vote, because that just makes the situation worse. But let's be realistic. It was the Barbados Prime Minister, Mia Motley, who said, let's have the election. It's only 3 years in. And as I said, this came to a shock to many people. People didn't see it coming. Let's head back to the phone lines. We have a caller. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning. I'm back. Now, does anybody know when COVID is going to end?
No, we don't. Can you tell me?
Well, this is the point I'm coming to. If you have no idea when it is going to end, then if election is due, you have to call it.
But election is not due.
Remember, election doesn't have a specific date.
Right, but we
You
know
like in the US?
usually. I understand what you're saying, but we know usually it's after the 4-year period. After 4 years, then you say, okay, election will be around this time. But nobody really and truly, to be fair, nobody expected an election in the third year. That's crazy.
When Antigua had this,
I don't know anything I had this. I'm just saying that nobody expected this one.
What do you mean by nobody? Remember, the talk was up, They were saying, remember the speculation? They were saying that there was some kind of dissension in her party. This was being said on the airwaves.
So it
and
was.
that she had two options.
Mm-hmm.
Either call the election, or they would have the motion of no confidence.
Mm-hmm. That's what I heard too. So
right.
she called the election to save herself.
And there were people who were in her party who were talking out against her. So I wouldn't agree with that. They did not know. Because it was one or the other. You follow?
I said they claim. They said they ain't know. That's what they said.
You see what I'm talking about, right?
They said they. I hear you.
Yeah, look, they either going to vote me out. They were even questioning if they were going at the party thing to take her down from being the head of the party. This is not there wasn't any secret. Well, if you are an opposition party and you hear all the wrangling, the infighting, and you know the options, because the Democratic Labour Party there, maybe long time or before them, so they should have been more than ready. In fact, I don't understand this thing about political parties not being ready. They're not being ready because usually they dissemble, they get together for the election. After that, sometimes they cease to function really as a party.
So let's go back to the point. You're saying your question was, does anyone know when COVID will end? You said that to say that.
No, you had mentioned that they were
continue.
having
Hold on. You
this
said that to
COVID.
say continue with the election with or without the COVID because really and truly we don't know when COVID is going to end. That's what you're saying.
Isn't that logical?
But that's what you're saying, right?
I asked, isn't that logical? That's what I said.
But,
Isn't it logical?
And I understand you. But it brings me to some other points or arguments that you yourself have made in the past, Mrs. Henry.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, with regards to COVID and the continuity of certain things, even with the cruise sector. I know there was some issue with cruise calls to different countries, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was you who made the argument that if the ships have cases of COVID, stop the whole thing.
Isn't that what is happening?
But should it happen?
Isn't that what is happening?
But the question is, should it happen? So how it is that we should continue the election?
Let me tell you.
How it is that we should continue the election, but stop the cruise ships? I mean, what's the trying to find the.
Yes,
I can't even find the word.
Connection. Give me the connection.
I'm trying to find the connection.
The cruise ship come in and at one day, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
But what?
There's no connection between cruise ship arrivals and election.
Yeah, but I think you're missing what I'm trying to get at. Because you're
you,
saying that continue the election.
Making that argument, there must be some relation.
You're saying. Hold on. You're saying to continue the election, whether we have COVID or not. But then you said, whether we have COVID or not, or because we have COVID, stop the cruise ships.
I didn't say that. I am saying, in terms of the election, the uncertainty, listen to me again because you heard me, the uncertainty of the end of COVID will force any government to have election. The next question I want to ask, what role does the overseas voters play in the Barbados election? Do you know?
What role does the overseas voters play in the Barbados elections?
In St. Kitts, they account for nearly half of our voters. The overseas voters determine the outcome, usually in St. Kitts and Nevis, So I'm asking now, what role does the overseas voters, Barbadian are talking about, right, play in the election?
But that's a very good question, but I don't have an answer for that because I don't even know.
If somebody
I don't
has it,
even
could you all
know.
please call in and help us out?
Well,
Because I have
I'm
been
hoping
thinking
they
about
can.
it.
I'm hoping they can.
Yes, some people know. In saying Kitty called election, you see the last one they were talking about, oh, Unity win because they played them couldn't come. You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
That is given for the reason why the present government is in. How does that affect the outcome in Barbados? Another thing in Barbados, they have what, about 7 parties?
I don't know if it's 7.
Oh, yeah,
I know they
7
have
parties.
the two main parties, and they have another
That's
one.
what we're saying.
So perhaps
I
7
keep telling
for
people
real.
there's not a third party and so can't work. And all Mayor Motley need to win is 16 seat, you know. You aware of it?
Yes.
All she needs is 16 seats. Who has the majority? And when you think about it, it is the people who benefit the most from election and politics who create the most havoc, you know. They in this party, they in the one. They come out here, they gone over there. They confuse the poor people. But we get so excited and we make enemies and we carry on and whatever. We put our own health at risk for politicians. We don't think about it. But I want an answer to that question. What would cause the Barbados Labour Party to lose? What factors? What would cause the DLP to win? Because there are many people follow. I am trying to follow it myself.
Mm-hmm.
But
well,
one question I
mean,
am asking again, what is the impact or the effect of bringing in voters in Barbados?
Right. And thank you so much for your contribution. Well, I don't see the Barbados Labour Party losing the election right now. I mean, it was a caller recent some weeks ago who made the connection or the correlation that okay, here in St. Kitts we had the St. Kitts Labour Party winning all 8 seats in 2000, and they didn't lose the election until 2015. So they won all 8 in 2000, and it wasn't until 2015 when they were eliminated from government. Now you have the case of the Barbados Labour Party. I can't see, well, what I can say now is that yes, the Barbados electorate and the St. Kitts electorate is different, but I can't see them winning 30 seats 3 years ago and then coming and only winning 10. It's kind of, I don't know. It's kind of hard to wrap my head around that one. Ladies and gentlemen, we're out of time, and so we're going to have to close the phone lines at this point in time. We'll take the headline news in just a few minutes, and when we come back, we'll continue Voices here on Win FM 98.9. But caller, you didn't answer my question, you know. You didn't answer my question. How is it that elections should continue because of the uncertainty of COVID, but stop the cruise ships? That is what I'm trying to understand. Because, I mean, we benefit when the cruise ships come. The taximen, the tour operators, the vendors, the government. So the question still stands. You're asking me for make a connection. I mean, there's no connection between cruise ships and elections, but it is the same issue, COVID-19. So how is it that we should continue? Not when I say we, I mean in Barbados. How is it that elections should continue? Because really and truly, we don't know when COVID will end. But for now, stop the ships because of COVID. Because one ship has about 10 cases, so lock down the whole cruise sector. I mean, that don't make no sense to me. It don't make no sense to me. It suggests that every time we have a few cases, we run and we closet and we hide. That is what it suggests to me. I'm not saying to relax all the measures and all the protocols. Absolutely not. That is not what I'm saying. But it brings the question, what is the way forward? It was Dr. Wilkinson who said we can't keep locking down the schools if 2 children have COVID. We can't keep locking down the schools. So my question still stands. I want you to explain to me. While you're saying that there is no connection, yes, no connection between Cruz and the election. But the connection is COVID. Both of them have COVID to face. So how is it that we can continue, or how is it that an election should continue, but there should be no Cruz? We'll take this break for the headline news, and when we come back, we'll continue in voices. Voices here on Win FM 98.9. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
You found the sound. 98.9. Win FM.
We now bring you the headline news. The headline news is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, KDP Enterprises, The Grange, and Carib Brewery.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Protect your lifestyle with Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Till you walk with a low reputation and service for second to none. Securing you is our mission. People that you can trust, your business, property, we got you covered. Motor or personal, whatever it is, we got you covered. 130 years in this business, we got you covered. For all your insurance needs, visit or call us at 465-2631 or 469-5303. Dealey Walwyn, people you can trust.
With the Win headline news, I am Devon Cornelius.
I am Yolanda Weeks.
And I am Kevon Brown.
Making the headlines. Locally, one person in custody following domestic dispute in Newton Ground.
Police issue a wanted poster for 22-year-old young man of Bellevue. In Guyana, protests erupt in Dartmouth over a manslaughter charge for a police officer accused of shooting a local businessman in his home last September. Internationally, a bill that would make Election Day a holiday in the U.S. and guarantee mail-in ballots for all voters is not expected to pass a vote in the Senate today.
The details and more straight ahead. Reports of a domestic dispute in Newton Ground, Bastia, St. Kitts, have been investigated by the police. The domestic dispute, which occurred sometime after 7 p.m. Tuesday, January 18, 2022, resulted in a young woman receiving a gunshot wound to the face. The unnamed woman is warded at the Jean France General Hospital in a stable condition. Police confirmed that one person is in custody in relation to the matter. More details as information becomes available.
The St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party celebrates 90 years. The St. Kitts and Nevis Labour Party will be celebrating the goodness of God at its 90th anniversary church service on January 23, 2022 at the New Birth Gospel Tabernacle Church in Cayon at 9 a.m. The anniversary is to be held under the theme People, Transparency, Stability, Always Our Number One Priority. The St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, the oldest active political party in the English-speaking Caribbean, stems from the Workers' Union, which was founded on January 25, 1932. In its 90-year history, it has seen 5 persons rise to the helm as party leader. The Right Excellent Sir Robert Llewellyn Bradshaw, the Right Excellent Sir Caleb Azariah Paul Southwell, Sir Lee Llewellyn Moore, the Right Honourable Dr. Denzil Douglas, and the current leader, Dr. Terence Drew. The WINNFM News team spoke with Dr. Drew, who indicated that the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party's 90th anniversary will take the form of a year-long celebration. He also noted that a calendar of activities will be released.
The police have issued a wanted poster for 22-year-old Raheem Depessois of Bellevue. Depessois is wanted for robbery, larceny, and escaping police custody. The 22-year-old is 6 feet in height with a medium build, brown complexion, black hair, and brown eyes. The authorities ask that Depessois turn himself in at the nearest police station. Anyone with information about the young man's whereabouts is asked to contact the Cayon Police Station at 465-7258, their nearest police station, or the crime hotline at 707. In regional news, in Guyana, protests erupt in Dartmouth over a manslaughter charge for a police officer accused of shooting a local businessman in his home last September. News Source Guyana has those details.
Residents of Dartmouth on the Essequibo coast, after holding off protests for close to 4 months, launched a massive protest this morning over the killing of businessman Orrin Boston Jr. back in September. The residents are upset that a policeman accused of shooting the businessman to death in his bed was charged for manslaughter and not the more serious charge of murder. The residents came out early this morning and lit tires on the main access road into the village, demanding that a charge of murder be filed in the matter. The businessman's father, Orrin Boston Sr., said his son never had any issue with the police and was never wanted for any crime and was never involved in any criminal activity. The man said his son was shot dead in cold blood in his home while with his family, and the charge should have been a murder charge and not manslaughter.
To that moment that he was highly wrong, barging into a man's house, he didn't read a warrant to him, just go kick down his door and then get in there and shot him in his bed, sleeping. He was sleeping at that moment. He was sleeping at that moment. So that is wrong. That's wrong. All right? And I'm not pleased with that manslaughter that he get for a charge. He's supposed to be in charge for murder. That's the reason why I'm out here today protesting that he must be in charge for murder.
The senior Orrin Boston said he is supportive of the protest because justice must be served in the matter. He also said the villagers plan to continue the protest until proper justice is served.
But if they don't change the manslaughter charge to murder, I will keep doing the protest until that decision has been torn up.
The widow of Orrin Boston said she is still overcome with grief and really wants justice to be served. Fighting back tears, she told reporters that she finds it difficult to sleep at nights and does not like recalling her husband's shooting death.
I don't know. It's really hard. you think a proper investigation was done?
No.
What would you like to see happen then?
I can't.
The incident took place in September of last year. At the time, government ministers and senior police officers rushed into the community and promised a thorough investigation of the incident. The investigation went on for almost 4 months, and it was only last week that the matter reached the Director of Public Prosecutions, and she advised that a police officer accused of shooting the businessman dead be charged for manslaughter, which is a bailable offense. The policeman, Sherwin Peters, appeared in court last Friday and was granted bail in the sum of $1 million.
We now bring you these international reports.
This morning, President Biden marks 1 year in office, with Republicans and Democrats in a standoff over voting rights.
This is about one party wanting the power to unilaterally rewrite the rule book of American elections.
Senate Democrats we are going to fight the fight.
A bill on the Senate floor would make Election Day a federal holiday and guarantee all voters can request a mail-in ballot. It would also force states that require voters show an ID to broaden the type of ID that's acceptable, a measure Republicans oppose. GOP Congressman Steve Scalise says the bill would also make it harder for states to purge deceased people from voter rolls.
Every year, as we know, people die, people move from place to place, and yet they make it very hard to clean up those rolls. So fighting for the integrity of the vote, making sure that everybody who's legally eligible to vote can cast one vote. That is what we as Republicans are fighting for.
Democrats accuse Republicans of stifling democracy. 19 states, many controlled by Republicans, recently imposed new laws restricting access to voting.
We cannot sit back and let one political party continue to unravel the threads of our democracy.
To pass the bill, Democrats need 60 votes or the support of 10 Republicans, which they don't have. And now 2 key Democrats, Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin, are refusing to change the Senate rules to let Democrats pass the bill with a simple majority.
There's no check and balance because basically you just sweep right through, and the same thing could happen if Republicans had everything.
All of this comes as President Biden holds a news conference this afternoon to discuss what lies ahead for his second year in office, with the pandemic still raging, inflation at a 40-year high, and his approval rating sinking.
The work is not done. The job is not done. And we are certainly not conveying it as. So our objective, and I think what you'll hear the president talk about, is how to build on the foundation we laid in the first year.
And in his first year, polls show President Biden has had an average approval rating of 42%, but it recently sank to 33%.
Major international airlines are scrambling to reschedule or cancel flights to the U.S. as it grapples with a 5G rollout that's triggered widespread air safety concerns. That's despite American telecoms giants Verizon and AT&T agreeing on Tuesday to temporarily delay parts of the rollout around key airports. The Federal Aviation Administration has warned that potential 5G interference could affect some planes' ability to make landings in bad weather. Airlines say the Boeing 777 is one of them. That's prompted airlines like Emirates, the world's largest operator of Boeing 777s, Japan Airlines, and Korean Air to cut back on flights to the U.S. or switch to other planes. All that comes after days of pressure from airlines, lawmakers, and U.S. officials to delay the 5G deployment and avert a larger aviation crisis. Tuesday's announcement delaying the deployment for the third time was met with praise from the Biden administration, which said more than 90% of the deployment could go forward as scheduled. But industry sources say it arrived too late to affect complex aircraft and crewing decisions for some Wednesday flights. The FAA and airlines have yet to agree on a permanent solution to the 5G crisis.
Call of Duty, a multiplayer war game. It's one of the biggest and most profitable entertainment franchises in the world. Made by US company Activision Blizzard, a studio which has 400 million people playing every month in 190 countries. And that kind of young fan base is one of the reasons that Microsoft, now itself a veteran tech firm, have swooped, paying over £50 billion for the company, the largest acquisition in gaming history. But why?
More and more companies are looking at ways to either break into or expand their gaming strategies. Even Netflix is doing the same thing, where they've launched a gaming footprint specifically around mobile games.
Activision Blizzard has been at the centre of a storm after employees walked out in protest after numerous sexual harassment, discrimination claims and an allegedly toxic environment. The company's CEO apologised and took a pay cut. But what does this mean for gamers? At the moment, Microsoft's Xbox consoles are lagging behind Sony's PlayStation 5 in terms of sales. By buying Call of Duty and the company behind it, Microsoft are fighting back by owning more and more exclusive rights. The question many players want to know now, though, is will they restrict their rivals' access to these major titles? Like many of the games themselves, tech companies are fighting their own battles, but for content. And gaming is fast becoming the most lucrative market in entertainment. Stefan Powell, BBC News.
You are listening to the WINNFM headline news. Let's recap our top stories. Locally, one person in custody following domestic dispute in Newton Ground.
Police issue a wanted poster for 22-year-old young man of Bellevue. In Guyana, protests erupt in Dartmouth over a manslaughter charge for a police officer accused of shooting a local businessman in his home last September. Internationally, a bill that would make Election Day a holiday in the U.S. and guarantee mail-in ballots for all voters is not expected to pass a vote in the Senate today.
Thank you for listening.
That was the WINNFM Headline News. The Headline News was brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, KDP Enterprises, The Grange, and Carib Brewery.
Protect your lifestyle with Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Till you walk with a low reputation and service for second to none. Securing you is our mission. People that you can trust, your business, property, we got you covered. Motor or personal, whatever it is, we got you covered. 130 years in this business, we've got you covered. For all your insurance needs, visit or call us at 465-2631 or 469-5303. DLE Walwyn, people you can trust.
With over a century of perfection behind the Mackeson name, a smooth blend with perfect balance and richness, it's no wonder Mackeson Triple Stout has a legacy of perfection. Enjoy the world over. Introducing our new look with the same great taste. Mackeson. All hail the king.
Please drink responsibly.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Value Mart IGA is helping you spend less and save more. How, you ask? Essential Everyday and Equiline. Spend less on our Essential Everyday products and get the best quality, the best taste, and the best value. Spend less for all your family health and beauty needs with the Equiline brand of over-the-counter products. Portsmouth Value Mart IGA is helping you spend less. With our Essential Everyday products and Equiline over-the-counter health and beauty care products. Shop smart and spend less at Value Mart, where price matters most.
Welcome back to Voices on WINNFM 98.9. It is 12:23 and you're listening to Voices on WINNFM 98.9. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. The phone lines are open. Just before I continue, however, I want to put over a notice. So, there was a traveler on the western side of the island, somewhere in the vicinity of the Dieppe Bay. He left a well-used building construction level on bus HA467 which is called the Terminator. However, should any one of you be asked about the well pre-used level, the owner can collect same from H87 named Fully Salt at the West Line Bus Ferry Terminal. Also, the current driver of Fully Salt H87 yours is Deacon Rodney Baptiste. So someone left a building construction level on bus HA467, but if you're trying to retrieve that level, you can contact Deacon Rodney Baptiste at 665-9641 in order to retrieve or recover the same level. Again, someone left a level on a bus HA467, but if you want to retrieve the level, you would have to contact Deacon Rodney Baptiste at 665-9641. That is 9641. You're listening to Voices on 1FM 98.9. The phone lines are open and we are taking your calls. Call us and be part of the discussion. For the first hour, we spoke on the Barbados elections there, what the concerns or the issues are. As it is now, as I said earlier, an injunction was filed to stop the election. The claims that the election, if the election is to continue, it would disenfranchise thousands. I think over 5,000 voters, more than 5,000 voters would be disenfranchised if the elections were to continue, based on the injunction that were filed, according to the individuals that filed the injunction. And so they were hoping that they can get the election postponed. However, the elections are continuing nicely, and it's 12:27, and the polls were open since 6 a.m. today, 6 o'clock this morning, and the polls will close at 7. So Barbadians all across the country will be going out to elect a new government. As I said, the $1 million question on the table is, will there be an upset in the election? Will Mia remain as Prime Minister? Will Mia Mottley remain as Prime Minister? Or will there be a shift? I don't see a shift happening. I think Mia will retain the Barbados Labour Party under her leadership will continue as the ruling party in the Barbados Parliament, or in the Barbados government, or they will make up the government rather, but some predict that they would be losing grounds. There were some political scientists, including Peter Wickham, renowned pollster Peter Wickham, who predicted, among others, that there are going to be some challenge for the Verla de Pisa. She's of the Democratic Labour Party, and she is their president. We have a caller on the line, so let's take this first call for this afternoon. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Very pleasant afternoon to you again, Devon, and thanks for reading out that message. That message was sent to you by me. I was actually driving HA467, the Terminator. I now drive Fully Salt. The number is H87, so I have switched buses. And the reason why you have two bus names and numbers. With respect to the challenge by the opposition to the elections in Barbados, any particular reason why they filed that injunction to stop the elections?
Yes. So they're saying that because voters would be disenfranchised from voting. As you know, in Barbados, if you are in isolation, you would not be allowed to vote. So that is why they wanted to stop the elections.
Okay.
And they also claim that that the president made perhaps a premature decision to agree with Mia to call the elections because of the circumstances in Barbados as it relates to COVID-19.
Yeah, but interestingly, quite a number of islands in the Caribbean have had elections, St. Kitts, inclusive of St. Kitts, during the COVID period.
Right.
COVID, as we know, came out in late 2019. We are now in 2022, so we are actually into the third year of this. And we have seen elections held quite successfully in a number of Caribbean islands. And we haven't really heard of the elections per se creating or bringing about an increase in positive COVID, wicked COVID cases.
Well, I would disagree to the extent that I think it was in Jamaica that even after the elections were over, their cases not even doubled but tripled. So that wasn't the case for St. Kitts and Nevis, but for Jamaica, the cases they went sky high.
Well, it's possible. It's possible because they did not observe the protocols as they ought to have. If you do not observe the protocols and you don't take the necessary precautions, obviously the number of positive cases would increase, it would rise. So the Jamaicans probably were a bit careless and let their guards down. I believe Mia Motley, Sister Mia Motley, will emerge victorious in the elections. I think that she has the confidence that she will get the mandate of the electorate in Barbados, and she wants to solidify that position as Prime Minister of Barbados. She has, in a relatively short time, done quite a lot for Barbados, moving Barbados away from under the British Privy Council and into a republic, which I think is a very positive move, very good move. And maybe other Caribbean islands should follow suit in time to come. With respect to the issue I brought up earlier on with the tennis player out of Serbia, Novak Djokovic, I think Mrs. Henry erred when she said that he got into Australia on false pretense, on fake pretense, through fake or false pretense or fraud, to use the exact term that she used. I don't think he got into Australia through any fraud. Djokovic was given special permission to enter Australia from doctor's medical certificate, which indicated that he was to be exempted from having any injection, that is the inoculation against the COVID-19, the wicked COVID virus. So he had a letter from a doctor which exempted him from being vaccinated. And so through that, the Australians allowed him in. Because while he was in Australia, they decided to revoke his visa, and he was detained the first time. Then the judge agreed with him, and afterwards the minister, the Australian foreign minister, I believe, challenged it again, and it was after that he was deported. So I think Mrs. Henry should revisit her facts and review the case, because he did not get into Australia on false pretense at all. He was officially allowed into Australia to participate in the tournament, being the #1 player in the world. I don't think he has been treated fairly at all, and really and truly, I think it is a disgrace to tennis, a disgrace to the sporting community internationally. And I see no reason why a player who is not vaccinated cannot participate in an international sporting event. Because we have to bear in mind that they are saying that if you are vaccinated, you are in a better position than the person who is not vaccinated. So if you are vaccinated, I see no reason why you should fear or have any fear of someone who is not vaccinated, because you are vaccinated, which means that you have protection. You have protection. So what are you afraid of? You know, that is my point.
Mm-hmm.
I really think that they need to revisit this. They need to review it and give the sports people a better chance, a fair chance. And I don't think that the French Open, the Wimbledon, and the U.S. Open should follow suit as the Australians have done to Novak Djokovic. I think he has done tremendously for tennis globally, and he deserves far better treatment than that. While I am here, I continue to re-emphasize that the Roads Division of the Ministry of Public Works, Public Infrastructure. They should look more closely at repairing all the cuts in the roads. We have some cuts in Sandy Point. A lot of drivers do not want to drive through them. They don't want to take the time and drive slowly through them. Everybody's looking to sidestep them. So when you have drivers looking to sidestep holes in the road, ditches and cuts in the road, that is a recipe for disaster, and that in itself can create accidents, unnecessary accidents, of which we are having so many nowadays. So they should look at all the cuts everywhere, throughout the island, the entire 31 miles of road, and ensure that they patch every ditch, every hole, and ensure that everything is smooth as silk, spick and span everywhere to maintain the high quality of the roads that the Surrey Paving have just given us. And they should also look at patching all the holes on the thoroughfare, Old Road Bay. You know, they need to resurface that and try to smoothen it out a lot better and mark it. You know, put in the marking. They have to put in the cat eyes, or, you know, put 3 lanes, 4 lanes, whatever it is they have to do. Put in the reflectors and ensure that road safety is maintained throughout the island. So that's my recommendation for them. And of course, we are happy for the better roads. We are happy for the better quality roads, better condition of the roads. But it should be maintained. Maintenance is key. Maintenance is what's going to cause the government, the administrators to save money. You know, and the more you can maintain and keep it properly maintained, the more money will be saved, and it will be better for the safety and security of everybody. So that's my little input here. Have a blessed afternoon, my friend.
And thank you, caller, so much for your contribution to this program. We're still taking calls here on Voices on WINNFM 98.9. I'm your host for today, Devon Coney. As the phone lines are open, and you can call us at 466-0989, 762-0989. We have a caller, so let's head back to the phone lines. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Good afternoon. That last caller, just very quickly on the Djokovic matter. I think his falsifying was on the visa application, where he stated they ask a question on all visas: have you traveled to any countries? And I believe his answer was no. And then a video appeared of him in Spain. So his application was filled in falsely. So I think that was one of the reasons as well. So it's not just the medical reports, it's the actual visa application itself. That's basically it.
Right, thank you, caller, so much for adding that to this conversation. A very interesting conversation that we're having, and we are still entertaining your calls here on Voices. The phone lines are open. Again, the numbers are 466-0989, 762-0989. The overseas numbers quickly. In the UK, you can call us at 033-344-0065. If you are in the USA, you can call us at 718-285-6984. And if you are in Canada, call us at 305-921-4619. Phone lines are open, and we are taking your calls. It is 38 minutes past the hour of 12 here in our studios of WINNFM 98.9, and you are tuned in to Voices. Again, it's an open ear, but these are just some of the topics that are on the table for now. Of course, I'm giving you the opportunity to call in and voice your opinion, voice your concern on something that is bothering you, something that is of interest or national interest in St. Kitts and Nevis. Phone lines are open, and I'm giving you the opportunity to do so. So we have already established what's going on in the Barbados elections, and we have already established what's going on with the tennis player and the situation with the Novak Djokovic issue. So those two are on the table, for discussion. We have a caller on the line, so we'll head back to the phone lines. Let's take this call. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Just kind of checking in on what I heard being discussed this morning about the election in Barbados.
Mm-hmm.
Prime ministers of the Caribbean seem to be holding one head. And I was so delighted when I heard, I think it was Prime Minister Michel out of Grenada, saying that he has been encouraged to call a snap election because the opposition is not ready. They're unaware, so he wanted to catch them off guard. And he came out and said he will not call an election on those bases, on that basis. He said election is for everybody. And it's unfair to call an election when you know, especially a snap election, when you know the opposition is not ready. So, no. And so, I just find it very, very interesting to know that a prime minister in the Caribbean who make that kind of statement, because there are seems that they are, geared and holding on to office regardless of what happens. And, I'm very, very delighted in hearing that. He says that, well, it's for the people, the majority of the people. And if half are not ready, why call a snap election? Basically, that's what I got from his business. I didn't hear it too cleanly, but I hope that, you could look into it and find out exactly what it's all about and, comment on this. Because hearing it from a Caribbean leader, it sounds very, very, strange, and I think it's a very, very good decision he's making not to call a snap election because he don't feel like the opposition is ready. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, caller, for your contribution. And thank you for bringing that up. I, too, heard that from the Grenadian Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Mitchell, when he was saying that he doesn't see the need in trying to take advantage of the opposition and trying to be selfish or anything of that sort. And so, I mean, one would say call the election, yes, to catch the opposition off guard. But it is and I was really, really, really surprised. I was shocked when he said that. I think it was very honorable of him. You don't see much of that happening in other islands. But his stance is that, yeah, the opposition may not be ready, but I'm not going to take advantage of them. Let there be free and fair elections. And I think that is what is meant when they say there needs to be, or there should be, free and fair elections. So, very interesting. I guess we're in the election mode, and so I think he has already downplayed talks of there being a snap election in Grenada. So, perhaps we can say that there won't be any election in Grenada. If that was the case, if that was the case, it would have been made, I think, very clear that, hey, in Grenada, we too are going to go to the polls. At the same time, you don't know what is on the mind of the Prime Minister. You don't know what the ruling party, I think it's the NNP, you don't know what is on their minds. You don't know if they would want to take that very bold step and call the election. But as it is right now, the Grenadian Prime Minister has said that that is not something that they would be doing at this point in time. It is 12:43. We'll take a break to acknowledge our sponsors, and when we come back, we'll continue Voices here on WINNFM 98.9. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Found the sound 98.9.
Supermarket shoppers understand that convenience matters. At Hortsport's Value Mart IGA, we know that price matters most. Ample parking and the widest variety matter. At Hortsport's Value Mart IGA, we know that price matters most. Clean, spacious aisles and the highest level of customer service all matter. At Hortsport's Value Mart IGA, price matters most. We've renewed our commitment to guarantee the lowest prices in the Federation. Why? Because we understand that in this tough economic environment, price matters most. Shop smart. Shop Value Mart, where price matters most. Farms Estate Nevis and Wellington Road, St. Kitts.
Price matters most.
Welcome back to Voices. Let's head back to the phone lines. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Good afternoon, Devon.
Yes, good
Have your
afternoon.
lunch?
Not as yet.
But I come out to beg you some. By the way, you read an item in the news. You said Newton Ground, Bastia?
Hello?
You read an item in the news about
Newton Ground, yes.
Newton Ground is in the country. Newton Ground is just a village before St. Paul's.
Okay. Okay, well, thanks for that correction.
Yeah, because in the news. So I wonder if you meant Newtown, but I heard you say Newton Ground.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you could check out, see if it is Newtown or Newton Ground.
Will do.
Because you said Bastia. Now, I want to thank Mr. Yarwood. And to go further, when in the second case with the Djokovic, he had claimed that he had COVID. It was proven he never had it. All right, so enough of that. And that's fraud. If you go and put false information on a document, it is called fraud. Whether he is a high man or low man, that is why people in high position do things and get away. Because there's always somebody to justify it. Now, I noticed also in the news that both parties on St. Kitts, the old ones, celebrating this month. Today, PAM celebrating 57, and Labour start their celebration from Sunday.
Yes, from Sunday. I think they have a church
Yes,
service.
celebrating 90. Now, let me get to this 90, because there's a problem we have in this country, in that when they change the name, coming to the schools in particular, there are many schools in St. Kitts and Nevis who started way back, some of them in slavery, and then there was a name change maybe in the 80s or the 90s. And then you hear the anniversary they're celebrating for the school is from the name change. And that creates a problem for all of us who went to the same school before it was renamed. In fact, it ended up sounding like there was never a school like that. That brings me to the Labour Party. The Labour Party, it was the Workers' League that started in 1932. The first election in St. Kitts, after it's either 60 or 80 years, was in 1937. That's the first time that there was an election, right? Because the 90, the counting start from 32, eh?
Yes, 1932 now.
Yeah, but the first election, can remember that they stopped electing. The governor was doing, the first election in St. Kitts was in 1937, after the long break. It then became a political party. In 1960, the name was changed to the Labour Party, 60. So the question is, how old is the Labour Party? Because nobody could answer for village school, no town school. All the schools that we name, the education department has refused to give. It happened in Nevis too, I've heard a division argue the same thing. He went to the school, now the school have a new name, and they're saying the school is this old. So the question is, how old really is the Labour Party? Should they be counting from 1960? I want somebody to answer.
I mean,
and the other one,
Sorry, go ahead.
And the PAM party. They deserve some credit, you know. Because I can tell you from 1937 to 1966, because of the maths. And whenever there was an election, even when they were the Workers' League, a party would come up, contest the election, and then dissolve. So the first party not to dissolve after an election was the People's Action Movement. You can imagine that? So you could count the number of political parties, and none of them contested twice. Election call, 46, one come up. Then another one call. In 52, another one come up. In 57, another one. All the way like that. So I think sometimes that is what created the confusion, because the People's Action Movement was expected to dissolve after the 66 election, and they did not.
Mm-hmm.
So you can imagine the attempt, you know, to get rid of the opposition. So that is the question I want, because I am still waiting for people, like myself, to know which school we went to.
Mm-hmm. Well, what I would say to that is that it makes sense to celebrate the school from when it actually started, or the organization from when it actually started. Yes, there's a name change.
I believe in that.
So I
believe in that.
I think in this case of the Labour Party, it makes more sense to celebrate from where it all started. So yes, there is the name change
in this country that they're starting, but when they rename it, you know.
Yeah, the name
Even
change
churches.
happened, you said, in 1960, which was 62 years ago.
Yeah,
right?
that is actually that is the age of the Labour Party, you know.
What is the age of the Labour Party?
62.
And what
But the Labour
grounds?
Party and the Workers' League will give 19.
So you're saying
actually,
that.
Actually, wait. Maybe it should go to 37, because there was no election in the country until 37. It was for them to speak up and to defend the rights of the poor, better housing. You understand? There were no candidate, and the first set of candidates were Mr. Edgar Challenger and Thomas Manchester.
Mm-hmm. Well, perhaps this is a question that the executive of the
have,
Labour
you
Party
can't have
can
it
answer.
one way. Because all of us who went to all of these schools, look, I went to the Bassett Senior School from 1961 to 1965.
But
and then they started the Bassett Junior High School. There is usually no mention at all that the school didn't exist.
Right, understand. But on the same note, Carla, what does the Labour Party have to do with the schools?
I'm talking about the precedent of dating in this country. We have institutions that predate the Workers' League, and they have been discounted.
Mm-hmm. Well, as I said, this is just my opinion on it. I think they should celebrate from when the whole thing started, and that was in 1932, where the idea came about to have this movement. Yes, there was a name change, but for me, I would celebrate it from when the movement started, the idea started.
So we go back to the schools. So we are called, with your support, because I've heard people in Nevis.
I support it, yeah.
Lamenting it.
I support it.
As far as they're concerned, they went to no school.
For example, I went to the St. John's. Well, it is now the Elizabeth Pemberton Primary School. But when I was going to that school, it was called the St. John's Primary School. And from time to time, up until this day, I would refer to that school as the St. John's Primary School, because when I went there, that was the name. But today, in the books at the Ministry of Education, the school is now the Elizabeth Pemberton Primary School.
And they give you the age, right? And they give you the age of the school.
Well, there has never been any controversy over the age when it comes to that. But I just say that to say that...
I visions on the radio.
Hold on.
The other day.
I said that to say...
Or something. In saying it has been a big debate. What school did the older people go to? You know, so it's just a matter. Just a matter of saying we must be consistent. Because these are all government and whatever positions, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So if we're going to say they're 90, then we got to say that the village school was built in 1940. The new one, the Dr. William Connor, was 1988.
Well,
You see what years after?
here's what this is the solution to the problem. So if you're dealing with a situation like that, you give the date of when the movement or the whole
the
idea
school
came
started.
about, right? So you give the date of when the school started, you give the history within that period, and then you come back and give the history of the name change. So you can
Yeah.
say from the name change, this is what has happened.
This is the number of years, you know?
Number of years from the name change,
Yeah,
number
'cause
of years from when it actually
alienated
started.
a lot of the older people. They have uprooted. The Bible said, don't remove the ancient landmark. So that is just my comment, really.
Right, and thank you so much for that, caller. Yeah, we're still taking calls here on Voices on WinFM 98.9. It's 5 minutes to the hour. So I understand what the caller is saying. There has always been some controversy over the name change and all of that. So I would say you celebrate from when the actual movement started. Back in 1932, the same thing for the school. You celebrate from when it actually started, but of course you give history within that period and history after the name change. Let's head back to the phone lines. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Yes, good afternoon. Well, Happy New Year and blessings to all.
Same to you.
Sometimes we quibble on things and miss the greater point. I am fortunate that, thank God, my grandfather was one of the founding fathers of the Workers' League in 1932, which then evolved into the Labour Party. And we benefit, all of us, this country, from that. I just want to also add, a caller spoke about the rise of the People's Action Movement, which then gave rise to a more permanent opposition party. And, you know, you have to give them commendation, give the party commendation for that. But what one sometimes have to add in terms of history, you have to see a more complete information. The Labour Party actually contributed to that. One of the Labour Party's aim when it came into power is to, you could say, empower the workers and empower the people of the country. And in so doing, it began to create a middle class. And that is the good part of the Labour Party. It began to create a middle class. And it is these middle class people who wanted something different who helped to establish the People's Action Movement. And so it's a tribute to the Labour Party in terms of the work it did and the success of the work it was doing, although it didn't see it that way all the time. Unfortunately, according to the records, according to what has been said, the People's Action Movement, when it was formed when you had the elections, maybe thought they should have won some members and went a step further, and we hear of an attempted coup at that time and what was happening and so on. Well, it was not resolved, but you have different persons who were apparently involved in it, and some folks like Anguilla who have written books on that. So there's a whole story, you know, you can go on and go on and go on. But thank you for bringing that up. Thanks.
And caller, thank you so much. Thank you for adding that to this conversation. It is 12:58, just 2 minutes before the hour, and we're still taking your calls here on WinFM 98.9. The phone lines are open. The conversation has shifted a bit. Well, of course, with the two major political parties on St. Kitts celebrating this month, we have the People's Action Movement, PAM, celebrating 57 years, and they did so with a number of activities to commemorate what they have dubbed a milestone. And of course, we have the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party celebrating 90 years, having been formed in, well, the idea came about in 1932. So the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party are celebrating 90 years, and the People's Action Movement is celebrating 57 years. The phone lines are still open, and we're taking your calls. Let's head back to the phone lines. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Good afternoon. Hello.
Hi, good afternoon. Caller, you're on the air.
I used to go to a school in Newtown. Now they call it Tucker Clark Primary School. When I used to go there, that school they used to call it. Hello. Hello.
Yes, caller, I'm listening to you. Yes.
Newtown Primary School. They tell me I go past the school. It used to be right in front of the fire station.
Mm-hmm.
That's the building right in front of, just at the head of the Sandon Road. That road to go up Figure.
Yes.
School, the building right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Should be the Heart and Lodge.
Right.
But they tell me I was going past the school. You hear the name they give it? Past the school. When they don't come big boy, start to go senior high school, they change the name. I don't know they change the name or they just get the right name. So they took a Clark Primary School. But all the time I go in as a little boy, they tell me I'm going past the school.
Right.
And so you need a lot of things, a lot of names in Sing Kids. You hear a name. It's not the right name. The name of somebody call it. 'Cause like I said, the school I used to go, they told me I was going past the school. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I am. So now there's a name change.
They told me I was going past the school. So all the time I go in school, a little boy, I going past the school. Then when I come big man, I hear Tucker Clark Primary School.
Right, and thank you so much, caller.
Mrs. Tucker Clark, she was the teacher for that same school.
Mm-hmm.
She was the teacher for that same school. But they give it a name after she finished with teaching.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the upper school up there by up on Pants Pasture. It's Tucker Clark Primary School.
Right, okay.
The one I used to go down there in front of the old fire station. They used to call it Pasture School.
Yes. Okay, well, caller, thank you so much for your contribution. We want to take some more calls here on Voices. The phone lines are still open and we're still taking your calls here. Call us at 466-0989-762-0989 and the phone lines are open. The conversation of the names of political parties and names of schools and when the school or the movement actually started versus the name change. I know there was some controversy with a particular school in Nevis where the man was saying, well, he attended the school at this point. And when he was at the school, this was the name, but no, they're writing off the years prior. So you're seeing a situation, perhaps a situation of where they're no longer counting the years before the name change, which that should not be. It should be, in my opinion, you count the years of when it actually started, where the idea came about, and then you count the name, you count the years from the name change up until now. That is the only, I would say, sensible and logical thing to do, because the history before the name change would be very, very important. Of course, you have people who was a part of the institution or the organization before the name change, and they would have the real, not the real history, but they would have the history and more history than those who are with that institution or organization today. It's 3 minutes past the hour of 1 and we're winding down. Of course, we'll end this program at 1:30 and we're still taking your calls here on WINNFM 98.9 for another edition of Voices. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. For those of you who are just tuning in, just a recap of today's program. Of course, you spoke on the Barbados election. Before I continue, let's head back to the phone lines and take this call quickly. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Hello.
Hi, caller. Good afternoon. You're on the air.
Hi, good afternoon. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, thanks.
Okay, let me just touch on a couple of things quickly. And you're so correct. let me just start it where you ended off. In reference to if something is established at a particular date, a particular time, a particular month and a year, that is when it started.
Mm-hmm.
It might be changes or development over the years.
Right.
But that is not going to change the fact that it started at this particular day. And there's one thing in life that man cannot change. Man can change just about anything. But one thing that man cannot change the facts. So you can give the history. 1930, this was established. 1950, this was changed. 1986, this was, and you can go with the history up to the present time. But not because something was changed at a particular time, meaning that is when it was established. Because changing and establish is totally two different things.
Right.
Right?
I agree with you.
We on the same page. I want to touch something in reference to what you and maybe a caller would have mentioned in reference to what Keith Mitchell would have said. It has to do with calling an election. Outside of, say, maybe America, which have a set date for election, any leader has the constitutional right to call the election between that 5-year period. So if you have an opposition, if you are in opposition, you're supposed to be ready to serve at any time. You're not supposed to be, the government is waiting for you to be ready, and if election is called, it is not for everybody. The government called the election, as long as you, under the Constitution, have the legal right to vote. At the age of 18, in our case, you're a citizen of St. Kitts and Nevis, registered properly, whatever, or in any country. You have the right to vote. So not because a leader call an election or a leader must say somebody must be ready. You in the opposition, you in politics, and you're not ready to serve. From the moment you get into something, and that is why I have a very serious thing about people who getting into service, Because service is not just a courtesy. Service is a commitment. You have to commit it to serve. And you have to commit it from day one. I know many people get into service for different reasons outside of what they're really supposed to get into service for. Because what is supposed to be into service is in the best interest of who you're serving, not in the best interest of you. And I could go into so many cases because, there's so many things, different things that, to be honest. And as I said, it always takes time to find ants' belly. And it's only a matter of time. Only a matter of time. Because of many things will be revealed. Many persons don't have any moral authority. But I want to say in reference to, say, the Barbados situation, there was an issue with somebody in the opposition in reference to the situation in Barbados. People can't vote. Whatever. And maybe the argument might be because they think that they may miss out and maybe people not voting, they're not getting those votes. But when you look at it, the people who are not voting, the government don't know who they would have been voting for. It's not to say, 90% of them supporting the opposition, but it could be the other way around. 90% of the people who cannot vote could be supporting the government.
Mm-hmm. You just don't know who people vote for. Mm-hmm.
Right. It is a situation, it's a pandemic. And that is why I continue to be very disappointed in many people, not only here, but I could speak of here. Many people in here, in this country, you have something that is a world crisis, killing people, taking away life and livelihood, lives and livelihood. And there are people who are playing politics out of it. No government bring the corona into their country. Because from the corona come, it just coming to kill, and to destroy. That's all. You're not concerned about party and who in here, you all back in this? Okay, I'm going to leave you all. I'm going over there. Every single citizen should take this virus seriously. And it has nothing to do with government. It has nothing to do with opposition. But in many cases, and not only here, a lot of the oppositions in the Caribbean are playing politics when it comes to the corona. I will touch on a lot of things at another time, because I ain't really called for that. I call, one of the two things I call for, to big up the best political party ever in this country, the People's Action Movement, and their record. The record in this country in terms of the impact the People's Action Movement has created for the lives of the people. And I could tell you straight off the bat that policies that the People's Action Movement brought into law are benefiting, have benefited, and will continue to benefit in terms of laws, programs, policies. Continue to benefit. Let me ask you a few questions, and there are certain things I would want you to find out.
But quickly, caller, because we want to take some more calls. Please, get to the point.
Let me just ask you quickly. Before Dr. Simmons took the government in this country, somebody working for $2,000. Somebody working for $2,000. Do you know how much they used to go home with?
I have no idea, no.
Well, I could tell you straight off the bat. $900. $900. $1,100 was going back to the government before Dr. Simmons. And do you know that any women in this country who got pregnant before Dr. Simmons got into power, they work for the government, they got pregnant, they have no job? Are you aware of that?
I heard something about that, but I don't know the specific details. Tell me about it.
Well, anybody who worked for the government before Dr. Simmons, this outstanding leader who this country owes tremendous amount of gratitude, before he got into power, you work for the government, you got pregnant, you're not married, you have no job. And I can go on. Thank God for Dr. Simmons, the peninsula, because of his vision. You see how much it is benefiting the flow between St. Kitts and Nevis? That vision of that man, and also the Port Zante, to created 25 acres of seawater and turn it into land. And it's benefiting this country today because of his outstanding vision. Unfortunately, he lost office and were not in a position to fulfill his dream, because it's only Dr. Simmons alone can fulfill his dream.
Right.
There are many other things which were supposed to be built down there and that Port Zante, that did not come into reality.
Right. Caller, quickly, we want to take some more calls, so quickly wrap up.
Well, let me just say quickly that the under-19 cricket tournament continue in the Caribbean, and it will continue here in St. Kitts and Nevis, and the West Indies would have played 2 matches, lost 1, and there's still hope for them to get into the semis, into the final, but we have to really thank the Minister of Sports and the government by extension of St. Kitts and Nevis, and the confidence that the people outside of St. Kitts and Nevis have in the government of St. Kitts and Nevis, and we will continue to progress. We have done well without them, and we will continue. And I will tell you straight off the bat, I will not give up the best government in the Caribbean. No way I will remove the best to settle for less. And nothing in this country outside of a PAM and the People's Action Movement and the Team Unity government, nothing outside of that is an option in this country.
Right. And thank you
Let
so
me leave
much,
it there
Carla,
for now.
for your contribution to this program. Let's take this break to give a shout out to the sponsors. When we come back, we'll begin wrapping up Voices for today. We'll take this break and we'll be right back. Stay tuned.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Hortford's Value Mart IGA is helping you spend less and save more. How, you ask? Essential Everyday and Equiline. Spend less on our Essential Everyday products and get the best quality, the best taste, and the best value. Spend less for all your family health and beauty needs with the Equiline brand of over-the-counter products. Hortford's Value Mart IGA is helping you spend less. With our Essential Everyday products and Equiline over-the-counter health and beauty care products. Shop smart and spend less at Value Mart, where price matters most.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Supermarket shoppers understand that convenience matters. At Hortford's Value Mart IGA, we know that price matters most. Ample parking and the widest variety matter. At Hortford's Value Mart IGA, we know that price matters most. Clean, spacious aisles and the highest level of customer service all matter. At Hortford's Value Mart IGA, price matters most. We've renewed our commitment to guarantee the lowest prices in the Federation. Why? Because we understand that in this tough economic environment, price matters most. Shop smart. Shop Value Mart, where price matters most. Farms Estate Nevis and Wellington Road, St. Kitts.
Price matters most.
Welcome back to Voices. We have a caller on the line. Let's take this call. Okay, we seem to have lost that caller. You can call us back at 466-0989 or you can try 762-0989. We're still taking calls here on Voices on WINNFM 98.9. Let's take this call. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Cornelius. Happy New Year to you, man.
Happy New Year to you as well.
Just about maybe 45 second diversion from your topic. Now, I heard on the news today that a lady in Newton Ground gets shot in her face with a gun. And I want to know when the authorities is going to put out an amnesty on these illegal guns. All it needs is an amnesty. And after that amnesty is over and they catch you with an illegal gun, the heaviest hammer of the law supposed to come down on them. Because that person who shot that woman in her face, I know that one ain't licensed. He ain't licensed. And the fact that they're keeping that is to use on people, not on monkey. We got monkey here destroying the whole farmers and crop.
Mm-hmm. But
why they don't go shoot the monkey them?
But okay, I understand what you're saying. But do you know for a fact that it wasn't a licensed firearm?
I know for a fact the way they behaving. I will take the liberty and say that. I will take it. And they have out the information, you know. Come license your gun this month, January. You got up to the 31st of January to license your gun. So what that did not go the woman eye? And somebody had to catch the woman in the temple and she dead. What happened? Them kind of shooting there, they don't come from legal license gun. When a man has a gun and the gun is licensed and legal, he follow the instruction when he's supposed to use his gun.
Mm-hmm. Well, I somewhat disagree because emotions can get control of people, and even if you have a licensed firearm, something might still get a hold of you, and you might, go overboard.
Yeah, well, emotions. If you can't control your emotion and you use a gun overboard, you're still wrong. Even though it is licensed, your gun must be used appropriately for the purpose where you have it and license it. That's my thing. There's too much of free gun up and down the place shooting people. They need to call an amnesty. Again, I don't like to repeat. But they need to call an amnesty bringing you unlicensed gun. And if you catch you with one and you ain't licensed, then you get the full brunt of the lap on you. Thank you very much, Cornelius.
And caller, thank you so much for your contribution to this program. We have 10 minutes left before we wrap up today's edition of Voices. The phone lines are still open. We're taking your calls at 466-0989 and 762-0989. Yes, there was an incident where a young lady was shot in the face. According to a report from the police, the lady was shot in her face. We understand that she is in a stable condition at the Jean France General Hospital, and the police have launched their investigation into this matter, and they confirmed with WINNFM that the person that there is someone in police custody. Let's head back to the phone lines. Let's take this call. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Good afternoon. Mr. Cornelius.
Yes.
We got to give Dr. Simon his team, not Dr. Simon. He's not here alone. It's not Dr. Simon alone. Dr. Simon had a great team. Because maybe if he alone, maybe he was here alone, he might have mashed up. I hear everybody calling and giving Dr. Simon, all of the credit. He had a great team, a great team. You see that man we can't find as yet? William Howard? He was a giant. He was a giant. One of the best in the lawyer in the Caribbean. Maybe the world too. He was a great advisor. But everybody calling Dr. Simon. I mean, Dr. Simon mess up. He mess up. That's what he caused. He caused cinemas to lose the city in Canary. Thank you.
And thank you, caller, for your contribution. We're still taking calls. Right up until 1:30, we're going to take your calls at 466-0989 and 762-0989. Again, the overseas numbers are 033-344-0065. That is for the UK. If you are in the USA, you can call us at 718-285-6984. We have a caller. Let's head back to the phone lines. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Yeah, hello. I'm just trying to say that governments making guns illegal goes against the Bible, and therefore that is wrong and sinful in the eyes of God. What they ought to do is apply the biblical punishment to the crimes according to the Bible. Thank you.
And thank you, caller, for your contribution to this program. We're still taking your calls. It is 24 minutes past the hour of 1. Call us and participate in today's discussion of voices. A very good discussion this afternoon and on a number of topics related to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. Let's get back to the phone lines. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Good afternoon. Is there any specific topic that you're discussing on your program right now?
No, it's more so of an open yes, so I'm giving you the opportunity to bring up a topic, but we spoke of the Barbados elections earlier, which is ongoing right now, and what is your take on that? Do you think the Barbados Labour Party will retain power?
That is, yeah, I believe so. Information about that, about the situation. But what it appears to me that there was a motion of no confidence that was called against the prime minister, and she would have came out of it 15-14, and then she would instead of going back, she called she asked the president to take the house and gone into the election, which I think if that is that's the information.
No, I don't think a motion of no confidence was called. There was some speculation that there were some members of our party that were looking to call a motion of no confidence, but I don't think one made it to the parliament chambers.
Okay. Well,
Right.
but instead of saying that she went, she asked for the house to be dissolved, and she went to the president and also did the election, which
Caller, you're breaking up. I can't hear you clearly. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Yeah, good afternoon, man. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Just one small thing I want to get clarified. Can you let me know, you said when that PAM party was formed and how much years they're in existence? I want you to clarify that for me, please, because on another station, I heard them said that it was established in, I think it said 67, and there was 57 years in existence, but the math didn't seem like you added up. Can you clarify that for me, please? Thanks.
You're welcome. So according to the People's Action Movement on their Facebook page and the information that they have been circulating, they are celebrating their 57th anniversary. That means that they started in 1965. 1965, that is 57 years. Let's head back to the phone lines.
yes.
Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Yes, so you're hearing me better now?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, I said they moved with Miss Motley. I think it's a brave one, but I think that show confidence in ourselves and in the people. I think that in her view, she thinks she was doing a good job. So she give back the choice to the people to decide who they really want, whether they want her to continue or they want somebody else new. Okay, that's my real take on it. But what I want to call and talk about, though, is an issue that we have here, that we still have continuing here in St. Kitts, Nevis, with our cricketers, our young and upcoming cricketers.
Caller, please turn off the radio. There's a lot of feedback in the background.
Sorry. Are you still getting feedback?
No, go ahead now.
Yeah, I was saying our up and coming young cricketers here in St. Kitts. You know, the past cricketers, here, you might have heard of it. 'Cause you sound like you're a young guy. Would have gotten a lot of knockbout, as we say it locally. And we think by now that would have stopped. But it still seems to be continuing for some unknown reason. Right now we have the Leeward Islands is having camp in Sandy Point, but as from what I have understand, and there's St. Kitts players. The Leeward Island has some players that is contracted, right, and they get paid. They invite people to the camp, some other players to the camp that are not contracted by the Leeward Island board, but they are told that they have to pay their way back and forth from the grounds, and then now we're hearing that they have to do COVID tests, and these players are told that they have to pay for their tests. While and my question is just these players only or the entire squad? We need to start hearing more from the St. Kitts Cricket Association, the sports department and these things about our players, because our players continue to get knocked out. We have this guy, Mikhail, and others, who young fellas who can make the Leeward Island team and go on and make the West Indies team. But they continue to be pushed aside. And every time you hear a Kitty-Shon is being pushed aside, who name keep coming up? Stuart Williams. Stuart, every time a Kitty-Shon you hear is being pushed aside, Stuart Williams name keep coming up. I don't know. From as far as I know, the Leeward Island usually have coaches for 2 years, but Stuart seemed to have gotten an extended contract in terms of coaching. But every time the Leeward players and the Leeward Island cricketers are both trying to do something, the Kitty-Shons always get left back behind. They had a camp earlier this year in Antigua for under 19 to go to England. No Kitty-Shon went. Who name you here calling? Stuart.
Okay, and you said that.
I am not saying.
Okay, so what are you saying? What is the point you're trying to get at?
Why is it the Kitty-Shon players always seems to be getting the short end of the stick? And certain players,
perhaps it is a case of them not meeting the requirements.
No, it's not about no meeting no requirements.
But how do you know that?
Of course, people knows things. People knows things. There are things being said by people and stuff. Do you want to tell me no young player in sync is reach the requirements that the Leeward Islands board is asking for?
Yeah, apparently not, because they're not been able to go.
No, it's not. No, apparently not. No, it's not that. There are people who are out there set out to keep Kitty-Shon down. And it has been going on from years up to now. Kelly, all of these guys.
You cannot come and accuse people of things that you don't know. You're speculating. You don't know for a fact.
So you know that it's not so. So you're saying I'm speculating.
You're speculating because you don't know for a fact. You don't know for a fact. That is your opinion. I don't have the facts, so I won't even talk about it.
I'm not speculating.
You're asking questions that I can't answer.
Okay, so you host a program, and the part of hosting the program, a guy you just call about.
But what you're saying respectfully, caller, makes absolutely no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. You're saying I'm hosting the program, so I'm supposed to know the answer to all of your questions. You're calling and you're speculating that this is what is happening, but you have no proof to reinforce what you've just stated. You're saying that conditions are not making the team or whatever. Perhaps it is a case of them not meeting the requirements. So go and have a conversation with the Cricket Association or whoever is responsible for that. But don't come and accuse people of things that you're not sure about. That is very unfair. While that is your opinion, and I respect your opinion, you can't come and accuse people and put people's name out there to paint the picture that they are deliberately blocking certain things from happening when you don't know for a fact. So I suggest you go and have a conversation with the Cricket Association to find out what is happening. If it is a case of them not meeting the requirements or whatever. But you can't accuse people of things that you don't know about. This is the end of Voices. We're going to have to wrap up. We're out of time. Thank you guys so much for your participation. Until next time, I've been your host for today, Devon Cornelius. You guys take good care and enjoy the rest of your day. Remember to wear your mask and, of course, wear your seatbelt. Stay safe.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is WIN FM.